Don't make the same mistake like everyone else. Let me go ahead and adjust my negative feel. Don't fall victim to what's cool. If you want success in this game of tournament fishing tournament fishing. We're talking about tournament fishing. Okay, guys? Don't fall into, let's catch them like the cool guys are catching them. Let's flip. Let's throw a frog. Let's Texas rig. Let's go ultra shallow and etc. Those are great. Don't get me wrong. But don't be like one of those guys that leave all your spinning rods at home. And only take 20-pound tests and 17-pound tests and straight braid with bait casters, you know, like this bait caster right here with straight braid and fluorocarbon leader, or 20-pound test with a chatterbait rod or something. They're all great techniques. Don't get me wrong. They're all great. But there's always a time for a certain technique. And if you leave one of those techniques that just because you let your pride get in the way, you might show up to the weigh-in, or you might be submitting only 1 or 2 fish of the whole entire day. Would you rather blank or catch 1 or 2 fish, or catch more fish and stay in contention? Because I thought tournament fishing was all about competition, all about staying in contention to go fish on day 2 or day 3 or day 4. I thought that was what tournament fishing was all about. Not about what's cool, but what's, analyzing the fish, see what the fish are doing, and adjusting to the current conditions. I thought that we are all playing that game when we're tournament fishing, right? But I noticed this trend. So let me give you a little bit. Let me go backwards a little bit. So when I got into kayak fishing roughly 4 years ago, tournament fishing, it was 3 or 4 years ago. My first year in with the KBF Pro Series and the ABA Ironman Series, they combined 2 events together to make it to go all in, you had to do $500 entry or something. And, I brought this bad boy right here, this spinning rod right here, and this has cashed me over $15,000 in the last 3 years. $15,000. I kid you not. And I wouldn't say that the spinning rod was a solution, but it was a good part of it. I would say it was a good 70, 80% responsible for all my winnings in tournaments. And another one that played a big role was, 10, 20% of the time I would be throwing, a bait caster, 17, 15-pound test, and chatterbait. And that played a significant role as well. So I cannot say that it was one or the other. But if I didn't have that spinning rod, I wouldn't have had all the success that I've had in the past 3 years. So don't make that mistake. Just because all your peers are saying, oh man, swim bait fishing is fun, frogging is fun, flipping shallow is fun. Yeah, that's all fun. But leave it up to those people that like to fun fish. You know what I mean? If you want to be successful in the game of tournament fishing, you got to be versatile. And, the bass don't care how cool you're fishing, right? So if that means you picking up 6 or 8 pound tests and throwing a little minnow, and that's what it takes to win it, are you going to do that, or are you going to keep on showing up bring 1 or 2 fish in, or bring 4 fish in and you failed to bring in your last keeper, right? So over that time of 3 years, I always wondered, like, why do some anglers just, like, I'll never throw any fairy wands. I'll never use any fairy wands. I'll never bring any fairy wands on my kayak or on my bass boat. I always wondered, like, but why? Because my definition, and I assume in a lot of people's definition, tournament fishing is all about adjusting to the conditions, figuring out what the bass want, where the bass are, and I thought that's what it came down to. So my biggest recommendation: don't just simply bring all spinning rods, but if you have a bass boat, you really have no limitations of how many spinning rods and how many bait casters you need. But I would focus on buying your specialty rod bait casters for specific techniques. If you're able to have a budget that could buy 20 combos, I would buy 10 bait casters with rods on them, and then I would buy 10 spinning rods with spinning reels. That's how I would do it, just because they're equally as important. So this right here, this one, I'm about all affordability, at this moment of my career. I always look for the most affordable, best rod, or most affordable, adequate rod that I could just catch fish on. I don't really care about how fancy the setups are, in terms of, because the fish don't care. Simple as that. The fish doesn't say, like, hey, you're throwing an $800 reel, $800 rod, I'm gonna bite that lure because you bought a fancy setup. No, fish don't care. This right here is a DXB 731 HRB glass rod. It's a 7.3. This is ultimately my favorite chatterbait rod. And this came in, I think, 130 or something like that. So you can get, like, affordable bait casters, affordable reels. Spend $99 on a reel, you can get Shimano SLX. It might not have that electric braking system, but it'll do. Or you can get a Daiwa Tatula CT from Tackle Warehouse. This is also another affordable reel. Again, I say, if you're gonna buy a bait caster, buy a specialty one. Buy the one that you actually, like a technique that you have in your back pocket that you could pull out, and you could adjust to the day, the conditions, say, you know what? There's a grass bed here. Fish seem to be more active. They'll probably eat a chatterbait. Have your chatterbait rod. Specialty rods. Let's go to the spinning reel. All right, get yourself, if you only have a budget for like 6 rods, get 3 spinning rods, 3 bait caster rods, and that's it. Just always have it like a 50-50. That's my recommendation. This one right here, solid. I got this recommendation by watching Tactical Bassin videos. This is the Aired X 701 MLFS. So it's a medium light rod. It has a sick tip on it. It just, I don't know if you guys could see that. Look at that. Look at that tip. See that? That tip will allow you to work the bait, keep it in the same water column, and have tremendous action on your bait. You could use this rod spinning combo for drop shotting, super light line, 10-pound test, 12-pound test, or you could shake a minnow on it. You can do a light Texas rig, like 1/8 ounce tungsten Texas rig on this. This is a great combo. You could buy 2 of these and and you'll have enough to be competitive. I'm telling you. This spinning rod right here is $50. Maybe on Tackle Warehouse is $55, but some places you can find this for $49.99. This Daiwa spinning reel, $59.99, I believe. This is a Regal, or is it a Revros? This is a Regal. So you might be able to find this for $40, $50, $60. Does the job. Have a little bit of, what is this? This is this new line right here. What is it? Suffix. Revolve. That's what it is. Not bad. It doesn't fray up, like after a few trips with it, it doesn't fray up as much as the Power Pro Smackdown. Or is it Seaguar Smackdown? I think it's Seaguar Smackdown. That stuff frays very easily. It just, you start to see how torn up it gets, and that was after like maybe 5 trips. But this is decent stuff. This is, I believe it's 8-pound Revolve with a 10-pound gold label by Seaguar, fluorocarbon leader. Going back to bait casters, this video is all about being versatile. It's all about not making the mistake of just bringing bait casters or just bringing spin rod combos. This is about having both on the deck of your boat, or your rod holders on your kayak, or your rod holders on your float tube, or even going on the bank. If you're on the bank, I would just keep it to 2 rods, 1 spinning rod, 1 bait caster combo. That's all you really need when you're on the bank. You need more, trust me, you need more, but when you're on the bank, you wanna go travel light, right? Here's another specialty rod I feel like I can't go without. And this one's gonna get upgraded soon just because I feel like there's better, more affordable, well, not more affordable, but better optimized to jerkbait fishing, okay? So this is a 705 CB Dobbins Fury rod. It's about 140 bucks. Not bad at all. Warranty's good. You just give them $60, $80 for a replacement rod. And you're solid if you ever break this. God forbid you ever break this. This is a great rod. Great rod. But I would rather go 6.5, honestly. 6.5, 6.5, 6.6. A little bit more medium fast action. I believe this is a medium heavy fast action, but it doesn't feel like a medium heavy fast action. It feels more of like a medium fast action. So I want a true medium heavy fast action, short 6.6, 6.5 rod, maybe 6.7, 6.8, but I'm in a kayak, so all I need is 6.6. So yeah, I'm looking to optimize my jerkbait rod, upgrade it sooner or later. But if you noticed, the only time I'm getting a bait caster is if there's specific techniques that I have confidence in, that I know I can get that 1 or 2 bites that could change my whole entire tournament. So if you need to build your confidence, start 1 rod, 1 reel at a time. For instance, like this chatterbait rod, if you haven't gotten 10 bites, 15, 20 bites in 1 day off a chatterbait, that's something that you need to train on. That's something that you might want to pursue. So get yourself like an affordable Daiwa rod, affordable Daiwa reel, or Shimano. All you do is bring that chatterbait out there, good Z-Man, jackhammer, 1 in maybe 3/8 ounce, 1 1/2 ounce. Just bring that technique this summer out to a grass fishery and just work on that technique. So that way you have it in your back pocket. And now you can feel confident that you could bring this bait caster combo in your kayak, bass boat, bank, or tube, okay? So before I let you guys go, I'll give you another tip. I'll give you several tips. My go-to baits that have cashed me checks I already told you is spinning rod, but bait particularly, a minnow, a drop shot, a Senko, okay, chatterbait. I think that's it. Like all the baits that are responsible for cashing checks, minnow shaped bait with a jig head, drop shot, Senko, chatterbait. Those are like the baits I would definitely get to know. Because sometimes you'll need that minnow and drop shot. Sometimes you'll need that chatterbait if you're in that grass, you know? Let me see what else. What else do I have that I feel like... I don't think I got anything else on the top of my head, but once I do, I am going to make a video on it. But I hope this video was really helpful for you guys. I know it's all over the place. I feel like these talking videos, I got to just get them out because this is just honest chats with you guys. Straight up. I should just call them this straight up chats. Straight up fishy chats. Fishy, straight up bass talk. Straight up bass talk. That's what I'm going to call these episodes. Straight up bass talk. Yeah, that's all I got to say is, you know, don't make that mistake of trying to be too cool. You know, I've seen the past 20 years, I'd say I'm that old, or let's just say the past 15 years I've been doing this on and off is don't be too cool for the spinning rod, you know, and vice versa. Don't be too cool for the bait caster. It's not actually that cool. I've seen anglers, you know, close friends of mine say I'd never throw a fairy wand. I'll never have a fairy wand tournament day. Fast forward 3 years later, now the minnow thing is like is blasting off. You know, I've had anglers that I don't necessarily get along with anymore that say, hey, if you go to Clear Lake, expect to throw different things other than a spinning rod. Guess what? The minnow bite is the best it's ever been on Clear Lake. It's like, oh, you know, like the fish act different at Clear Lake. They actually don't. They love the drop shot. They love the minnow. Fish, you have to still adjust, but if you keep things simple, you can find some similarities between lake to lake. All right, and that's another video I'm gonna get to. I don't wanna go off of a tangent. That's another video I'm gonna get to. The next episode, I can't promise the next episode will be this topic, but I promise this video is coming. The myth of how fish act 100% different from lake to lake, that's totally out the door. Sure, some fish act differently from lake to lake, but you can go into a lake catching fish the same exact way that you went from the other lake. You might have to adjust a little bit, adjust your techniques a little bit, but they're not 100% a different species. You can still catch them a similar way. Anyways, like this video if you guys liked it. Comment below what techniques that you plan on learning. This is a community channel. I want you guys to tell me, you know, what techniques you're trying to pick up on this year. Throw in some questions, you know, do you need any tips on like throwing a spinning rod or a spinning reel? Throw it all in the comments. This is all for you guys that are new to fishing, new to kayak fishing, want to get better at tournament fishing, or you want to step into tournament fishing, but you're nervous a little bit. This channel is for those people, or you're just fun fishing and you just want to catch numbers. You know, this is what this channel is for. You know, it's not for a tournament fisherman that has been doing it for 15 or 20 years. This channel is not for you guys. It might throw on a few tips here and there that may help you guys that have been doing it 15 and 20 years, but if you guys have been doing it 15, 20 years, you guys should pretty much know everything that you should have to know to be successful in tournaments. This is for you guys that are new at it. So yeah, hit the subscribe button if you like this information. Comment below if you have any questions. Tell me a little bit about the techniques that you're picking up on this year. And then like the video, it helps this channel out. Let's keep these videos going. I'll check in with you guys later. Peace.